Hey Hylians! So it's no surprise to anyone who's been around my channel for even a little bit of time that Ganondorf is not just my favourite Legend of Zelda villain, but my favourite Legend of Zelda character. Starting off in the series as just your typical one-note big bad evil guy, over time he has slowly been given a little more character than just bad guy. And today I want to show my love for the Gerudo King by doing a whole video dedicated just to him, going over 10 little random facts about him. Some of these facts I'm sure most of you will know about, but there are others I think the large majority of you won't know about. So let's start this list of 10 random facts about Ganondorf, the King of Evil himself. Let's start off with something simple. Ganondorf's full name is Ganondorf Dragmire. This name was first revealed to us back in the English manual for A Link to the Past, but has not appeared within any actual games. Because of this, and because it only appeared in the English manual, I know some people don't like to consider this his actual name, but saying it's the only full name we have for Ganondorf so far, I'll stick with it until Nintendo give us something else. Sticking with the more personal facts about Ganondorf, it's stated within Hyrule Historia that within Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf is 230 centimeters tall, or 7 foot 6 inches. Within Ocarina of Time, there is a very slight difference to Ganondorf's look after the 7-year time skip, but it's a detail I've always thought was very cool. After the time skip, you can now see that Ganondorf has grown his hair out, as it's much longer than the short spiky cut that he had before when first meeting him. I guess Ganondorf's long flowing locks was not a more recent character design after all. The human form of Ganondorf was first seen in Ocarina of Time, and in this game we see that his ears are rounded, unlike the Hylian's pointed ears. Though interestingly, in every game since that he has appeared in, his ears have been pointed, except for Tears of the Kingdom where they are, once again, rounded. This is something I found super interesting, as rounded ears have always been seen as a trait of the Gerudo, and of Ganondorf. Yet, out of all the games that he's appeared in, only Ocarina, the first game that he was seen in, and now the upcoming Tears of the Kingdom, has him with rounded ears. I wonder if this could be something to do with the Triforce, or the story, or just a simple change in his design. But it really is pretty interesting to me, saying how most people do recognise rounded ears to be a constant design trait of the Gerudo, and Ganondorf. Ganondorf currently appears within 3 mainline games in the Zelda series: Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess, and very soon to be 4 with Tears of the Kingdom. His beast form Ganon appears in many more games, appearing on its own within games as well as appearing in games alongside his human form. But did you know that Ganondorf was planned to be in another game that his beast form did show up in? It was revealed within Hyrule Historia that Ganondorf was once planned to show up within the Oracle games. We don't know what his role in the story would have been, but we do have some artwork on what he could have looked like. Well, what his sprite could have tried to replicate. Ganon appears within the Oracle games once linking both seasons and ages, and at one point a third Oracle game, the Oracle of Secrets, was planned. So maybe if that game had happened, if you linked all 3 games, Ganondorf would be the final boss. But sadly, that's something I don't think we will ever find more out about. Now, did you know that there are actually 2 Ganondorfs within the Zelda series? Of course, everybody knows the main Ganondorf, the one that we first see within Ocarina of Time and who then we see again in Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Well, it seems that it isn't just Link and Zelda who are reborn over and over and over. At the end of Twilight Princess, we kill Ganondorf. He isn't sealed away like other games, he is killed. But within the next game following on from Twilight Princess, Four Swords Adventures, we have Ganon back. And through the story, and talking to characters, we can find out that this Ganon was once Ganondorf. A new Ganondorf. Basically, within Twilight Princess, Ganondorf was killed. Years later, and after the Gerudo returned to Hyrule, a new male was born to the Gerudo, and so they named him Ganondorf. It's actually said that he was a pretty fine leader for the Gerudo, but every year he became more and more cruel, eventually breaking the Gerudo's own laws. At some point, very shortly before the events of Four Swords Adventures, this new Ganondorf gets a hold of the Trident of Evil, and eventually transforms into Ganon. Which is why within the game itself, we only see Ganon, not Ganondorf. He's already transformed. So yes, there are canonically two different Ganondorfs in the series, just like all the countless reincarnations of Link and Zelda. A little off track, but I made a video after the reveal of the first Tears of the Kingdom trailer talking about how the Ganondorf from Four Swords Adventures could be the Ganondorf that we see within this upcoming game. And so, if you're interested in any of that, I'll leave a link around the video for you. I've always loved how the alphabets in the Zelda series are able to be translated into our own alphabets. And because of this, it can lead to some hidden messages or even hidden lore in the writings around the world. And one of my favourites is connected to Ganondorf. In Wind Waker, in the final fight with Ganondorf, he uses two twin blades to fight you with. But in the original Japanese version of the game, and in the HD version of the game, written on the two blades are the names Kume and Kotoke. These are the names of the twin Gerudo witches who adopted and raised Ganondorf, and who we see and later fight in Ocarina of Time. It's such an unexpected bit of sentimentality from Ganondorf, naming the twin blades he fights with after the two women who were basically his mothers. But I love this little detail. And it's pretty fitting to be a part of Wind Waker Ganondorf, saying he definitely is the most human and layered version of the King of Evil we've seen so far. Within the HD remasters of Zelda games, we get to see a lot more detail in the worlds, as all those textures are made to look the way they were meant to be seen. But sometimes textures also need to be remade because of how much more clear the game now looks. And this led to one of the more interesting little details in Twilight Princess HD. When you get to the cutscene in Arbiter's grounds, showing the events of the sages sealing away Ganondorf, when he pulls the sword out of his chest, looking at the armour on his side, you can see a pretty interesting little image. Within the armour Ganondorf wears, you can see the engraving of Link fighting a giant bird. Now it's been said that this, along with the engravings found around Castletown in the remaster, don't actually have any importance, and were simply made to look nice and seem historic. But still, it's pretty interesting that Ganondorf would have the engraving of the boy who has and will many times again defeat him on his armour. It looks almost as if it's depicting Link versus the Helmerich King, though that happens in a completely different timeline. But it's still a pretty cool, easy to miss little detail. Sticking with Twilight Princess, I'm sure we all remember the end of the game, and the short speech that Ganondorf says right before his death. Though originally, this was going to be a little longer. In the final game it's cut down to only a couple of lines, but this is what it would have been originally. When the chosen ones appear, they are always born into this world in perfect balance. That is the destiny of the chosen. That is the fate decreed by your gods. The only path for those who bear their crests. When this world brings forth another marked as you are, know too, it shall be visited by one of my blood. Do not think this ends here. The history of light and shadow will be written in blood. In the game, the speech was cut down to just the final two lines. Do not think this ends here, the history of light and shadow will be written in blood. This works alone, but with the context of the full speech it gives it so much more weight, and I really wish they kept the full speech in the final game. Because to hear Ganondorf taunting Link and Zelda, pretty much calling them nothing more than pawns who fight for their gods, and who will always be followed by someone connected to Ganondorf, it just makes him sound so much more menacing. It's a huge shame that this was cut from the final game, because it really would have added to what a short amount of time Ganondorf had in Twilight Princess. And to finish off this list, I want to point out the fact that Ganon was represented by a question mark in the original Legend of Zelda's manual. I understand that this was to keep Ganon hidden to players till they got to the end of the game and finally saw him. As this was the first game in the series, no one would have any idea on what they were fighting till the end of the game, which can make it pretty cool and exciting. But I kind of find it funny that there's just a giant question mark used to represent the big bad of not just the game, but the entire series. And there we have it, 10 random facts about Ganondorf, the King of Evil. It's been fun talking about my favourite Zelda character for a full video, and hopefully while watching you learnt something new about the Gerudo King. This has been my first time doing a video with this kind of structure, focusing on a single character, but I've enjoyed it a lot, and if you guys have and want to see more like this, then maybe I'll do some more in the future. If there are any facts about Ganondorf that you know that I didn't talk about here, do leave them in the comments below. I do have some more that didn't make it into this video, but there may be even more that you guys know about that I didn't, and maybe I'll make a part 2 if I have enough. Anyway, I hope you have all enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give the video a like, as it's the easiest and quickest way to show me that you are enjoying the content I create. If you have anything to say on the video, leave it down below in the comments, as I always love reading and replying to all of them. And if you're new around here and like Zelda, well, why not subscribe? My whole channel is dedicated to The Legend of Zelda, so I'm sure there's something I make that you'll enjoy. Thank you all for watching all the way to the end of today's video, it really means a lot, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!